Webinar about mindfulness and the power of presence. This is an on-demand video, so I'm not going to give you any BS about it being live and pretend to speak to people who are showing up on the webinar, because I personally hate all that myself when I attend one of these. So I promise you that this will be straight to the point, very little waffling or time-filling activities, because your time is precious and so is mine. You're here because you obviously want to learn about becoming more present. So we're going to get stuck in right away. So this is the power of presence, and it will explain to you about how becoming present will help you reduce brain fog, lower tension, improve productivity, and have better relationships, which will help you then find a source of deep inner peace and wealth and health and happiness. So nothing to lose. So I'm reckoning that you're here and you've signed up for this because you're maybe looking for more clarity, maybe more peace, maybe more happiness. Maybe you are feeling like this pressure cooker. Maybe you are completely burned out, overwhelmed, tired all the time. Perhaps maybe there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done, or you feel that way. You feel that you're just constantly under pressure. And as you learn to work with mindfulness, what you'll find is that you naturally become more present in your life. So you will become more peaceful. The brain fog naturally will start to ease away, and it leads to a host of benefits, which we will be looking at as we go through this training. But suffice to say, if you want to reduce overwhelm, burnout, fatigue, brain fog, and get more energy, clarity, and peace, then you're in the right place. So I'm really glad that you're here, and thank you for taking the time for yourself to do this. So in short, this training video will look at 3 things that will help you get started right away. Okay, because this is the whole point. You want to get started straight away. You don't want to have, a whole lot of things to get done first and have all this stuff to set up, because you're already busy, you're already burned out, you're already stressed, you're already tired. So I don't want to add to that burden. So these are going to be 3 things that you can get started with right away. We'll look at how life could be if you make these changes. And we'll also have a wee look at sort of perhaps where you sabotage yourself. We'll be doing a short mindfulness practice that you can use anytime and anywhere. And we'll do some testimonials as well to help you see how mindfulness changes people's lives. Okay, so with the mindfulness practice, don't worry, if you're watching this in work, the boss won't even know you're doing it. Okay, so don't worry about that. So before we go any further, let me take a moment just to introduce myself. After all, you're about to spend the next few minutes of your life with me, and it's probably a good idea for me to tell you a little bit about myself and what I do. So my name is Debbie Barr, and I'm the owner of a mind, body and spirit wellness business, which is called Rocks and Rituals. So I'm based in Bangor, County Down in Northern Ireland, and the business was established back in 2010. So I do have a fair bit of experience in helping people just like you to find your inner peace and to become the best and most authentic version of yourself. I am a Reiki master teacher and have been since 2012, and I've taught Reiki and meditation to people from all walks of life. I'm a registered teacher with the Reiki Guild and have been professionally verified by the Reiki Council. I also teach shamanic practice, crystal healing and the tarot, and I'm an approved training provider with the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine. I've written 2 books, The Reiki Solution and Rocks and Rituals Tarot Tales, both of which are available on Amazon as paperbacks or as Kindle editions, and I also love to paint. I'm a keen artist, but for me that's my personal therapy, and that's how I find myself and my mindfulness. I'll probably tell you a little bit more about that later. I also practice meditation and Qigong, which is a Chinese style, like Tai Chi style thing, mindful movement if you wish, and I do that every single day, and that's been a real game changer for me. I'm also a mum of 2. I have a partner and I care for my elderly mum as well. Oh, and in my spare time, I also volunteer as an emergency ambulance crew and driver for St John Ambulance. And I've just been registered as one of their official trainers too. So I'm really busy and I love it. And it all seems like quite a lot when you list it all out like that. But honestly, I love my work and my life. And that's why I do what I do. So I wanted just to tell you a little bit more about why I do what I do. Okay. I am here to help. I'm here to serve. I'm here to inspire, to empower, to teach. Okay. I love what I do, and I want to be of service to those who need it. Okay, because I've been in some really dark places myself, and I've dealt with things like death and bereavement, ill health, depression, anxiety, divorce. At times I've found myself asking, is there anything more to life here, really? And I'm sure you've all been there. I've suffered from stress, burnout, chronic pain, fatigue, overwhelm, but I decided to make changes so that I can now say those things are definitely all in the past. And I'm also here to prove that if I can do it and if I can overcome these things, then so can you. Anyone can. So I'm here to help you, to serve you, to hopefully inspire you and to teach you, but most of all to empower you, to make the necessary changes and to give you the tools so you can help yourself. Okay? So let's have a wee look. What needs to change? And this is where we need to begin with our training. What needs to change? Okay, what needs to change in your life? Are you finding that, you're just constantly under pressure? Are you under pressure at home, in work, in your relationship? Are you irritable and grumpy? Are you snapping at your loved ones or your kids or your partner or your husband or your wife because you're so stressed? Are you sleeping well? Or is that a problem? I know that when I was under pressure and suffering from stress and depression, there were days where all I wanted to do was sleep. But my mind wouldn't shut up. And I often felt like I was going through life on autopilot in the middle of a thick brain fog. Couldn't think straight, and it seemed that everyone wanted a piece of me. And I really lost myself and stayed that way for years. So let me ask you, be totally honest with yourself. And maybe write it down in the wee workbook. What is it that you want to change the most? What is going wrong? What's not working? What is causing you pain or problems? What is making you stay up at night? What is making you want to cry? What is needing to change? Okay? Imagine if you made those changes, how life could be. So imagine if you were able to reduce the stress and overwhelm and the burnout and the fatigue and the brain fog. Imagine getting a good night's sleep and waking up feeling energised and ready for the day ahead. Imagine how you would smile more and be a nicer person to be around. Imagine how this would positively impact on your family life and your relationships. Imagine feeling totally clear in your mind, able to make decisions easily, having a deep ocean of calm and inner peace within you. That you might be the person that inspires other people and have them look at you and think, whoa, I wish my life was like that. You being the person that they turn to for help and advice. And not feeling overwhelmed by that. Imagine being able to be totally yourself, living the life that you love. And you don't have to imagine, it can happen. And you don't need a magic wand. But you do just need to commit to making a few small changes. So, as I said earlier, we're going to look at 3 things to get you started straight away. So we're going to find how you can find time in your hectic schedule. No more excuses. Okay? So we'll look at time, how to find it, so stop sabotaging yourself with the cry of, I don't have time. I'll also show you an easy technique to restore instant peace and calm no matter where you are. And number 3, I will help you see that you have the power within yourself to change your life. So number 1, I don't have time. How often do these words come out of your mouth? I don't have time. I can't, I don't have time. I'd love to, but I don't have time. I would, but I don't have time. I am going to call you out on this right now. It's utter nonsense. Okay? We make time for what's important to us. When we say we don't have time, what we're actually saying is that is not important enough for me to make time for. So how tragic is that? Imagine, hey friend, let's go for coffee and a catch up. It's been ages since we've seen each other. Sorry mate, don't have time. Actually, saying sorry mate, you're not important enough to me to do anything. You're not important enough for me to make time for you. That's what that actually says. Now, there's times when life's busy and you may have something else to do at that moment, that your friend wants to go for coffee and you physically can't go at that time. But to say, I can't, I don't have time, is not a nice way of putting it. Maybe it should be something along the lines of, you know what, I've got to go for an appointment right now, so I can't drop this and go for coffee now, but what about we hook up tomorrow at 11, or I'll see you next Monday at, make time. But when you say I don't have time, quite often it just literally means I don't think this is important enough for me to make time for. So because let's look at it another way. Have you got time to shower and wash and brush your teeth in the mornings or the evenings? Do you have time to drink your tea and your coffee? Do you have time to scroll through Facebook and watch TV? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And it's just how we choose to use them that matters. We all lead busy lives and have multiple demands on our time. But we all have a choice as to how we spend the 24 hours each day that we have. Now, I'm not here to judge or beat you up for how you spend your time, but you're here because you've recognised that something needs to change and that you're looking to me to help you figure out how to make those changes. So I am going to ask you to honestly review your typical day and write it down in the little workbook. Where do you lose time? What activities or habits rob you of precious time that could be better spent elsewhere? Now, I know that we all like to blame other people and other situations rather than taking full responsibility, but I really want you to not do that. I want you to avoid that like the plague. Yes, you might have to spend 8 or more hours per day in a job that you may or may not enjoy, but let's think positively. There are ways to always find joy if we look hard enough. So where do we lose time? I want you to think about that for a moment. Just where do we lose time? Where do you lose time? This graphics kind of says it all, doesn't it? Kind of says it all here. Sitting at the dinner table, smartphones in hand. Is that familiar? I try to ban them from the dinner table. I hate it. In today's society, though, we are becoming addicted to smart technology, and it's really dumbing us all down. We're disconnecting from each other on a massive scale, and we're wasting an inordinate amount of time scrolling through news feeds on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, blah, 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 I don't know, all of them. There's so many. Your phone's constantly pinging and you feel like a slave to it. So maybe you feel that you absolutely have to check your emails and social media as soon as you wake up in the morning. Can I just ask, what on earth are you afraid of missing? If the first thing you do in the morning is reach for your phone, other than to turn off your alarm, what are you really doing? One of the best things I ever did was to set myself a challenge to not check my phone until after breakfast. So for me, that meant I had to get up, use a bathroom, shower, do my morning meditation, my qigong practice, make breakfast, eat breakfast, and all before I lifted my phone to check what was going on in the world. And you know what? It was amazing. I had so much more time in the morning than ever before. And it was a real game changer for me personally. And it was such a small challenge. It came about as a bit of a laugh. I bet you couldn't do this. And I was like, oh, really? Bet you can. And it was really hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It was really quite difficult initially. But for the first few days, what I did was I put the phone on flight mode so that there was no notifications pinging and there was nothing going on. And the alarm went off. I turned the alarm off and just got up. And instead of lying for, 15, 20, 30 minutes scrolling through mindless drivel on Facebook, I just got up and went and got washed and dressed and showered and all the rest of all these things, did everything I needed to do, had my meditation, did my qigong practice, did everything I needed to do, had my breakfast. And I still then had time after breakfast before I started work. Then I could look at my phone and it was fine and it was really good. So I would reckon that you should really give that a go. But we're also losing times to our bigger screens, TV, Netflix, YouTube. And I know personally, years ago, before I discovered all this mindfulness and the power of being present, I would distract myself for hours on end watching the soaps and watching TV dramas, finding excuses really to never sit quietly without something going on in the background. And I know now that's because at the time I was deeply unhappy and I was afraid that if I didn't have something on in the background like, the radio or the TV, and there was just silence, that I would probably have to confront those inner demons that were coming up for me. So I recognise that, and you maybe will recognise that in yourself. Other ways we lose time: procrastination, gossiping, complaining. I saw this continuously when I worked in office jobs. It was so much easier to complain and gossip with work colleagues about how crap work was than actually get stuck in and do the work. And recently I was back in an office environment for a while, and I was so shocked now as a mindful Reiki master, going back to spend a few days, a few months working back in an office environment. I was really shocked to notice how much time actually was lost every day, because I really noticed it now. Whereas previously, when I was in the thick of it myself, I didn't. But I really noticed it, and it became a real problem. So much time lost every day with staff members giving off and gossiping and complaining and just generally playing the victim. And I've been guilty of it myself, so no judgment here, just an honest review. Do you do this? How much time do you lose in a day? Be actually completely honest here. How much time in a day do you lose? Think about that. So I'll give you mentioned in passing earlier, I'll give you a wee bit of an insight into my story, but I suffered terribly from depression back in the day, and at the height of my depression, or should I say at the lowest point, I was losing so much time. At the time, I had 2 young kids under 5 years old. I was working in a relatively highly pressured IT job, and I was working kind of in the evenings after being at home all day with the kids. So as soon as my husband at the time, whenever he came home from work, I would leave the kids with him and I would then go to work. So it was for childcare reasons. We couldn't afford double childcare fees. I'm sure a lot of you are in the same boat. So I was working at night after being with the kids all day. That was part of the reason for the depression, I would say, looking back on it. But anyway, I would often also find myself taking on tasks that other people could have done rightly. But it was almost like I enjoyed being the martyr and playing the victim. And it was like, I'll do it. It's okay, I'll do it. Even though I was exhausted, and the perfectionist in me thought nobody else could do it right. So I would do it, and that way at least it would get done right. Does any of this ring a bell with any of you out there? And it led me to feeling victimised and put upon. And yet now when I look back on it, I can really see I did that to myself. Nobody did it to me. I did it to myself. I was shattered. I was not sleeping well. I was trying to sleep in late anytime I had the chance. Felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. And because of all this, I wasn't really being the best mum either, because I was stumbling through life on autopilot in a thick fog of antidepressants and stress. And it wasn't until a few years later, when I was made redundant, that I finally heeded the call from the universe and began to put myself and my needs first. It was time to book time for me. Is it time that you booked out some time for you? I started with small changes, and I actually booked some time out in my diary, which was specifically for me. Okay, because I want to tell you, we can recognise where we lose time, but how do we claw this back? How do we get the time back? You start by noticing it, and then you do something about it. Okay, so for me, small changes: booked time out in my diary. I physically wrote it in my diary. I put it in my Outlook calendar. I booked appointments for myself, with myself, me time. And I think it's something that you could do, and it's something you should do to allow yourself time in the diary. So I also took an honest look at my life, and I started to make other changes. I turned off the news. Nobody needs that constant fear-mongering negativity. I also stopped watching the soaps and the mindless drama, because really, I have not enough drama going on in my own life without watching everybody else's. And I found I had an extra couple of hours in the evening, which I didn't have before, which in turn then allowed me to start to learn a little bit more about relaxation and mindfulness and meditation. And I started with simply watching my breath and noticing when my thoughts wandered off. I'm still really busy. In fact, I'm busier now than I've ever been, but I'm not stressed. I'm happier than ever. Now, the small changes led up to big changes for me. Okay, so I had some big changes as well. I had to leave my soul-destroying IT job because it was sucking the life clean out of me. And I had to move away from office jobs and build my own business. I had to face up to the fact back in the day that my marriage wasn't really working, and I had to make changes there. We ended up getting divorced, but we're still good friends. Strength that came from all those small daily changes, like booking time for myself, watching my breath, beginning my Reiki journey, mindfulness, spiritual healing. All those small changes all added up into massive ones that have turned my life around. So that's why I mention all this, because it's really important. You need to make the changes, not just notice, okay? But it starts with notice. So what I want you to do is I want you to review your typical day, okay? Notice the habits you have that cause you to lose time. Are you willing to change them? Okay. Book an appointment with yourself. Set aside 10 or 15 minutes each day, which is just for you. Maybe you could use those minutes to mindfully drink your coffee or be totally present when you shower. You can be creative here. You can see how you can fit mindful practice into your life. I've just created a 28-day mindfulness challenge, which can help with this, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But your first task for this training is to mindfully review your day and bin anything that's wasting your time. And I guarantee you will find at least 30 minutes, but probably a hell of a lot more. But you've got to be ruthless and you've got to be honest. Okay, so do that. Promise yourself, book time in your diary to review your day. I asked a couple of my students and clients to give me their thoughts about how changing their routine up and adding a daily mindfulness practice or meditation practice helped them. And this is what Paula had to say. She said, she gave more than this, but this is the shortened version. She said that I do it in the morning after my yoga practice. At the start, it was difficult to remember, but it has now become not only an easy habit, but a therapeutic addition to my day. I find it very beneficial for my mind, my mental health and well-being. For that 10 minutes or so, it's me giving myself what I need, and I'm a massive fan of self-care. And this is the thing, guys, it's only 10 minutes a day. Now, Paula practices yoga, so for her, it was a natural progression to add 10 minutes onto her day. But if you don't practice yoga or qigong or any of these things, that's fine. You can still find 5 to 10 minutes a day where you can either mindfully do something, or you can sit and listen to a guided meditation, or you can follow your breath. And again, as I say, I've got a challenge that you can take part in if you wish later on. Paula goes on to say, I've become less distracted and I'm able to just be for that time, which I find so important as we are human beings, not human doings. I love that wee phrase, a human being, not a human doing. She also says, and you can see there, that she has noticing her negative thoughts a little bit more because she's becoming more mindful and watching her breath. She's noticing her thoughts more. And this is where the real power of presence comes in, because when you're present and you're aware of what's going on in your head, all of a sudden you start to notice how you talk to yourself. And you start to notice how you perhaps have a little bit of a negative vibe going on, so you can then stop that and switch it around. And that's where the power lies, okay? Because you become the master of your own thoughts and your own feelings. And that's so powerful, so powerful. But it starts with a small daily practice. Okay, number 2. Promised you something you could do easily and without anyone noticing. Did you guess what it was? Breathing. You're already doing it. You do it without thinking. Your body just inhales and exhales all day and all night with no input from you. You've time to do it. You usually ignore it. You normally just get on with it. But you're doing it right now, or at least I hope you are. Now that I've drawn your attention to it, you've become aware of it. So notice for me for a wee moment, how are you breathing? Is it slow and deep? Or short and shallow? Does your chest rise and fall much, or are you breathing into your belly? Your breath signifies such a lot. It's the very essence of life. Without breath, there is no life. It's the first way chi can enter your body, and when you breathe slowly and deeply, it sends a signal to your brain and nervous system to enter the relaxation response. When we're anxious or feeling under pressure, we go into the stress response, and this is an ancient system there to protect us, the fight or flight, okay? Stress response is a lifesaver. When we're in danger, it causes us either to fight, freeze, or flee. The blood's diverted into our muscles to give us strength to fight or run, our breathing quickens, adrenaline spikes, all to help save our lives. And then when the threat goes away, we return to normal. At least that's what's supposed to happen. That was all well and good whenever we had wild animals chasing us and we were out hunting and gathering for our food and all these things. Nowadays, our bodies tend to be, in today's society, we're kind of running a low-level stress response 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So our bodies are constantly flooded with stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, keeping our blood pressure up, our heart rate up, our anxiety levels through the roof. We start to gain fat round our middle because of the cortisol, and we find ourselves overwhelmed and burned out and at risk of heart disease and stroke. So by focusing on our breath, not only are we working on our positive mental health, we're also working on our physical health, and we can stop this stress response in its tracks and encourage our bodies to go into relaxation, okay, which lowers blood pressure and heart rate, and which promotes healing and deep relaxation. And it also enhances your immune system, because when you're stressed, the blood and the energy all gets diverted away from the immune system and you get sick. So you need to learn to breathe. Okay? It is a powerful method of becoming totally present. As you notice your breath, it naturally deepens. I want you to take a few moments now. Let's just follow this exercise. You can see there's a graphic on the screen. So you can see this here. So inhaling and then holding the inhalation and then exhaling. Now, depending on how you breathe, feel free to follow that while I just chat in the background. Depending on how you breathe, you'll either find that this is too slow for you, or if you're a naturally deep breather, then it might be a wee bit quick. So go at your own pace if you wish, but if you're breathing fast and shallow, I want you to try and follow this in a more deep way. And the purpose of the little hold at the end of each breath is for you to notice the pause. On the turn of your breath, there is a pause. So let's do it for a moment. Breathing all the way out, holding in through the nose, holding out through the mouth, holding. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, and so on, and so on. Now this is a technique that you can do anytime, anywhere, any place, and nobody even needs to know you're doing it. You don't have to close your eyes. You can if you wish. That deepens the presence even more. If you are able to close your eyes and focus on your breathing, it brings your mind straight into your body. Now, it's very likely that as you focus on your breath, you'll notice how naughty your mind is and how it just keeps wandering off like a little puppy that needs trained. But I don't want you to get frustrated with yourself, because it's perfectly normal for your mind to have thoughts. That's what it's there for. Okay? If you imagine your mind is like the road and your thoughts are like the cars. You don't get angry at the road for having cars on it, so don't get angry at your mind for having thoughts in it. The secret with this exercise is to notice when you're no longer focusing on your breath and to bring your attention gently back to focusing on the breath, but with no judgment, no anger, just a slight smile perhaps at the monkey mind and the puppy dog nature of please come here, sit, stay. But just smile, bring your attention back to your breath. And what you'll find is that it's like sitting at the side of the road, just watching the cars go by. Sometimes you will get caught up with a thought and find yourself 3 miles down the road with the nice car. And then you realise and you just simply take a seat back at the side of the road again and continue to watch. Other times you'll maybe feel a thought or an emotion coming and you'll try and stop it. But all that'll do is run over you, so just allow it to pass by and come back to your breath. Following your breath. The quickest, easiest, and most powerful way to become totally present in the moment. Because as complex as our brain is, it can only focus on one thing at a time. And if you can train it to focus on your breath, then you are taking the first step to being powerfully present. So how do you feel after that? If I was to have measured your blood pressure before and now after, it would have lowered. Your heart rate will have gone down slightly. And the happy hormones, the relaxation response, all initiated, all moving and flowing through your body. The chi is flowing through your body better. You are peaceful. You are aware of your body. So an easy thing you can do if you find yourself getting overwhelmed in the day is to perhaps set an alarm at random points on your phone or whatever device you use. And when you hear that alarm go off, you take 3 mindful breaths, breathing into the count of 4 or 5 or 6 or however long you can breathe in for, holding for a count of 2 or 3, and then breathing out. And if you're a little bit more advanced at this, then you might want to breathe out for slightly longer than you breathe in. And that in itself is very, very relaxing. You going to give it a try? I think you should. This is what Karen, one of the people who are currently doing the 28 mindfulness challenge, 28-day mindfulness challenge, she said, I find this exercise to be very helpful and interesting today. For some reason, I was stressing more about the little things. And it wasn't until I took time out to do this that I noticed my shoulders were uptight and tense. So I relaxed them and did the exercise again. And for something that only took a minute or two, it really helped me to slip into chill mode. So I think I'll try doing this a lot. How powerful is that? Just by focusing on her breath, she then noticed that her shoulders were up at her ears and that she was stressed. So she took an extra minute, noticeably reduced her shoulders down, relaxed them down, and was like, right, breathed again, nice and gently, and all of a sudden she was in chill mode. Just from breathing. My God, guys, this is the most powerful thing, and you do it all day, every day. So there is really no excuse. Please do give it a try. So finally, I promised you that there would be a third thing that we looked at. So we've looked at finding time and recognizing where you sabotage yourself or lose time. We've looked at the power now of mindful breathing. So the third thing we're going to look at is the fact that we are responsible for our own lives. We ultimately drive our lives. Nobody else does. You and you alone have the power to choose how you spend your days, how you behave, how you think, and how you react to the things that come your way. Nobody can make changes for you. There is no magic wand. You have to take responsibility and notice where the changes need made and then make them. No excuses, no victim syndrome here, just total responsibility for your actions. Because it's your thoughts and your perception that define your reality. And if you think that it's someone else's fault or everyone else's fault that your life's the way it is, then you may as well sign off now, because I can only work with people who are ready to take back their power and to take responsibility for changing their lives. Because the very definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. You know, if what you're doing now is not working, then it is time, my friend, to make a change. You know, and are you ready to make that change? Because you have the power. You have the power to choose. You know, it's our perception of things. It's not the things in life that stress us, it's how we react to them and how we respond to them. You know, and it's so easy to fall into victim mentality, and I feel this way because you made me, you know, or he shouted at me, or my boss gave me extra work, and blah blah blah. You know, that's a real blame game, and it's real negative downward spiral and a low vibration activity. Whereas when you take control and you take charge, you put yourself back in the driving seat of your life. Do you drive it, or are you running around as a passenger here, letting someone else drive it? You know, this is your life. It's not a rehearsal. This is your life. Every day you get to wake up and write a brand new story. What are you going to do today? So you can decide today to make a change and do something positive for you, but you have to know that. And no one has power over you unless you give it to them. So I want you to really think about that for a moment. And you can do that as you breathe as well. You know, you can say things like here, now, power is mine. You know, different things. Use affirmations with your breath and use that to drive that. And if you need help with this, you know, get in touch with me. Contact me and we'll work with it. You know, there's things we can do to get this working, but you ultimately have the power to choose. Justina, a former Reiki student of mine who lives in Tunisia now, has this to say about taking responsibility for her life. She had massive life changes to deal with, and instead of allowing them to overcome her and sort of blame everybody else around her, you know, she decided she would start embracing a daily meditation practice to help her. And I think it's wonderfully inspiring, and she's just one of many, many, many people who have discovered the joy of taking control of their lives in positive ways. She says, since I started meditating in a regular way, my mood and my attitude towards myself has improved. I wake up in the morning and I know that I have this time for myself, to take care of myself, to love myself, to calm down and to understand, to feel at peace with yourself, because it's the most important thing. Isn't that lovely? That a daily practice can do this. And ultimately, you know, she could have allowed the fact that she had to, you know, she's originally from Poland, she's lived in Northern Ireland for a while, and now she's out in Tunisia. Those are massive changes that anyone could make. And you could let that really overwhelm you and make you, you know, make your life a misery. But no. She sets aside time. She found the time. She noticed where she was losing the time. And then she did a change and she made it different, and she focuses on her breath. She meditates, she listens to guided meditation. She does lots of different things, because there's no right or wrong way here, guys. And there's lots of different ways you can fit this into your schedule. And that's what part of the 28-day challenge is about. So what is it to be for you? Okay, we're coming to the end of this. I told you it would be straight to the point, okay? We're going to try and sort of wrap this up no later than sort of 45 minutes tops. So are you ready to make these necessary changes? Small daily habits lead to profound transformation. You will look back in time and realise just how far you've come, providing you start taking a step. One small step every day. But if you never start taking the steps, if you stay exactly where you are, then you're never going to get anywhere. But only you can make that decision. Since I started my daily Qigong and meditation practice, I no longer have crippling chronic joint pain, and that used to define my days. My creative spark has come back. My relationship with my partner and my kids has improved significantly. And nobody did this for me. I did it by myself. I had to do it by myself because no one else can. Okay? Are you ready to improve your life? There's support here. Yes, you have to make the changes. You have to do the work. You can only do that, but you don't have to do it alone. Okay? You can receive help from me, from people around you, get some friends involved, work together. But I'm willing to help you if you're willing to show up and take responsibility for the changes you need to make. Are you ready? Are you ready to shake things up? As I mentioned earlier, I have a 28-day challenge. Okay, and it's a very simple challenge. For every single day for 28 days, I give you one small task to do, which will help you become more present. And it's not about adding to your already hectic workload, okay? These are tasks that you often already do. So things like brushing your teeth or drinking a cup of coffee or tea if you don't drink coffee, or water if you don't drink either. Different things, walking, breathing, stuff that you do every day. Okay, stuff that you can do every day easily. Whether it's, washing dishes, whether it's stacking the dishwasher, whether it's doing the laundry. There's different things in the challenge, okay? And it's really, really, really good fun. And the people who have signed up for it already are already loving it. And they're thinking that finding that it's making a real difference. Little things that they take for granted every day, they're now noticing. And it's allowing them to become more powerfully present every day. It's also half price for the first 100 people that get involved. So there's really nothing to lose. And it's not an expensive program anyway. Even at full price, it's only £25 for the month for the 28 days, but at the moment it's half price, so it's literally less than 50 pence a day. So honestly, it's really, really worth it. Anyway, how it will help you is it gives you specific daily tasks to work on, which fits into your routine. Okay. It also helps to motivate you then whenever you can see how a small change or a small task gives you a big difference. It's like a win. So you want more of that. Okay, so you then are more inclined to keep going. There's community support in our group, and there's guidance and help when you need it. I've also put in little bonus modules throughout as well. So depending on how well you engage with the content in the hub, bonus modules will unlock. Okay, and I also have a free prize draw every month for those who are active that month. And it gets a chance to win a free one-to-one coaching call with me, providing you show up and do the work. Okay. This is one of the girls, Karen again. It's been a while since I've sat down and enjoyed a cup of herbal tea, and it's lovely. Everything from relaxing while the kettle boils to breathing in the smell from the steam and warming my hands on the cup, being aware as it travels down into my belly, all from one cup of tea. Not lush. Rather than throwing the cup of tea into you as you sit at your desk or you run around letting it get cold. Really, really, really powerful. Kirsty, who was actually one of the first person to sign up for the challenge, this is a brilliant idea. Whether you want an introduction to mindfulness, a refresher, or just to reduce stress, Debbie puts it better than me. Worth a shot. I'm in. And she has been really active and she's enjoying it as well. And things like, one of the first tasks is a simple task of brushing your teeth, but there's a wee twist, and the twist, which I'm not going to tell you about, you have to sign up, makes it kind of difficult, and it's really good fun, and people are finding that that in itself, just to do something differently, it's a real brain trainer as well, so it's really, really worth it. So I would urge you to get involved. So if you want to get involved, if you're already logged into the Member Vault Hub where you're accessing this video, then great. You can just come back out to the available products and you will see it as a 28-day mindfulness challenge, and you can go ahead and sign up there. If you're accessing this video training elsewhere, you can visit my website, www.roxandrituals.co.uk, and click on the 28-day mindfulness challenge or image link. And that will allow you to be taken to it. I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment. You pay your $12.50 one-off fee for your full immediate access if you're one of the first 100 people, and you can log in and get started straight away and check your inbox, because you will also get an email every day. Now, the email will come at whatever time you signed up for. So if you sign up at 11 o'clock at night, you'll get your emails at 11 o'clock at night. It's just how the system works. But the day-to-day challenges will release every single morning. So you can just log into the hub every morning and check what your challenge is. The emails are only there as a reminder in case you forget. So I will show you here. So you can click on the mindfulness challenge on the website as it shows here, and what that will do is will take you to the teaser page, okay, which gives you a bit of information, okay, little bit of background, and then if you're ready to sign up, you can click sign up. What that does is open up a sign up form where you put your first name, your last name, and your email address. Okay, I'm not going to fill this in because obviously I own the product, but your £12.50 and how you want to pay, credit or debit card, or you can pay by PayPal if you prefer. Click the wee box to agree to terms of service and pay your £12.50. That will then take you straight into the challenge. Okay, so you can log in. Generally speaking, the logins are usually your email address for both your username and password until you change it, and then you can change it yourself when you go in. So you can click then on view this module for day one. I have more unlocked because I've obviously been going through this as a test, but day one challenge, there we go, brushing the teeth, and I haven't given you the twist because it's further down the page and you'll just have to wait and see. So that's essentially how it looks, okay? It works on any device, guys, and it is a web-based hub. So that's pretty much all I have to say to you. I'm not going to give you the hard sell. I've told you what it's about. If you're interested, brilliant. If you're not, that's okay. If you're going to continue to wait for the magic wand, then you knock yourself right out, and do give me a shout when you find it, because I'd love one too. If you do have questions or you want to reach out, you can connect via Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or contact me via the website. If you don't make the changes, nobody else can. So let's all become more mindful and present together, and we can watch how our world changes as a result. Thanks for taking the time. Have a nice day.